Before she was Lady Death, she was Lyudmila, a girl from Kiev, a student of history. She loved books, fencing, quiet walks, but history has a way of choosing its own narrators. Kiev, 1941. The city braced for occupation. Soldiers marched in formation, but one woman walked against them. Her coat was civilian. Her eyes were not. She watched the rifles pass, not with fear, but with resolve. This was not the story of a victim. This was the beginning of a legend. She would not be remembered for what she studied, but for what she defended. Before the rifle, before the battlefield, there was a classroom. Lyudmila Pavlichenko stood before equations and futures. A student, a thinker, a woman of precision, but history doesn't wait for quiet minds. The headlines struck like thunder. War had begun, and with it, the world she knew began to dissolve. She didn't flinch, she didn't retreat. She picked up chalk one last time, then chose a rifle. She sat at the table, not as a nurse, not as a messenger, but as a soldier. The room held its breath. The rifle beside her spoke louder than the silence. To the man in uniform, she was an anomaly. A woman in war, that was not the order of things. He scanned the form, not for errors, but for audacity. Behind her, another soldier watched, not with admiration, but with doubt. She wasn't asking permission. She was claiming her place. The ink dried. The prejudice didn't. But history would not remember their doubt. It would remember her aim. Her fingers trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of what came next. One round, one breath, one decision. She had studied history. Now, she was stepping into it. The rifle was cold, the silence colder. No parade, no anthem. Just the sound of metal locking into place. She wasn't ready. No one ever is. But readiness wasn't the point. Resolve was. She wasn't just holding a weapon. She was holding a promise. To defend. To endure. To be seen. She proved them wrong with her first kill. One shot, one breath. She had no audience, no applause, just snow, silence, and the scope. Each breath was measured, each shot deliberate. The cold didn't bite, it sharpened her focus. They called it a kill count. She called it survival. Every mark was a story, a face, a moment she couldn't forget. There was no glory in repetition, only necessity. War doesn't ask who you are. It only asks what you can endure. She didn't flinch. She didn't celebrate. She just moved to the next target. This was not vengeance. This was duty. Cold, precise, relentless. And somewhere in the silence, she kept counting. The rifle became her voice. Her name spread through the trenches. She wasn't just accurate, she was relentless. She tracked enemy snipers for days, crawling through mud, waiting in silence. Her kill count rose. By the time she reached Sevastopol, she was a legend. 309 confirmed kills. 36 enemy snipers. The Germans called her Lady Death, but she didn't smile at the name. She said, "I fight not for death. I fight so others may live." A mortar blast ended her frontline days. Shrapnel tore through her body, but not her spirit. She was pulled from the front, sent to Moscow, but she didn't rest. She trained new snipers, shared her tactics, became a symbol of Soviet resistance. In 1942, she toured the United States and Canada, met President Franklin Roosevelt, and struck up an unlikely friendship with First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. The press mocked her uniform, asked if she wore lipstick in battle. She replied,
"There's no rule against it. But who has time to think of her shiny nose when a battle is going on?"
And then she asked,
"Gentlemen, I'm 25 years old and I have killed 309 fascist invaders. Don't you think you've been hiding behind my back for too long?"
Eleanor saw past the headlines. She saw a woman who had survived hell, and in a quiet moment, she gave Lyudmila a gift, a pearl necklace, a symbol of grace, resilience, and shared strength. Lyudmila wore it proudly, not as decoration, but as armor. After the war, she returned to her books, became a researcher, lived quietly, no parades, no medals on display. She died in 1974, buried with honors, but her story faded. She was a woman who rewrote the rules, a sniper who became a scholar again, a hero history nearly erased. No Hollywood film, no best-selling biography, just a name and a number, 309, Lyudmila Pavlichenko, the woman with 309 kills, the unknown hero, the face behind the scope, Lady Death. She didn't fight for fame, she fought for survival, for her country, for her people. And now, we remember. Like and subscribe to TerasNexra.